Hello, Math 24 students. Some of you may be old hands with using Canvas, but if it's new to you, I wanted to give you a little introduction to help you get started. So I always start at the Sierra College homepage, so I actually have a bookmarked link to sierracollege.edu. Then you have to scroll down just a little bit to get to Canvas, and then you click on Canvas, and then it's going to go to a login page. And your login information is the same for everything at Sierra College, for your My Sierra account, for your Sierra College student email, and for Canvas, you use the same login and password for all of those. So once you're inside Canvas, the first place you're going to come is called your dashboard. So that's where you always land when you come into Canvas. And in the upper left is always a little note telling you where you are. So you're in the dashboard. So you're in charge of what you see on your dashboard. I have classes from last semester still that students are still sending me messages, so I've left them open. And then I've not yet published my courses for this semester. Once I have published them, then they will move up here to the published courses. So here's how you can choose what you see on your dashboard. You won't see your course until your instructor has published it. But once the instructor has published it, all of your classes will by default show up. But maybe you don't want them all to show up, or maybe you want some of your prior classes to show up so you can look for things. So the next little icon down in the Canvas icons for navigating is Courses. So when you go to Courses, you'll see your published courses in a list and your unpublished courses in a list. And then at the bottom, you'll see All Courses. Well, when you click on All Courses, here's where you can choose what's on your dashboard. So if I click on a star and make it colored, that is now going to show up on my dashboard. So let's go to the dashboard, and you'll see that now Academic Senate is showing up on my dashboard. And Canvas is taking time to load right now. It's not usually that slow, but I think it has to do with how many people are getting courses ready to go. So Academic Senate is now showing up, but then I decide I don't want it there. So I go back to Courses, come down here to All Courses, and then I click again on the colored star and it goes blank, empty. And when the star is empty, that won't show up on your dashboard. So now when I go back to my dashboard, the Academic Senate block won't be there. So these squares on your dashboard are called tiles. So you'll have a tile for each class. And you get to make some choices about your tiles. This 3 stacked dots here is a menu. So you can click on the menu. And when you do, you have some options. You can nickname the course. I find that the name Canvas gives the course isn't always useful for me. I want to know what semester I'm in, and so I always put the semester first, Spring 22, and then Math 12, and then the CRN, because that's useful for me to have. You might want to just put College Algebra. You can name it whatever you like. Then you have your choice of any of these colors to have your tile be that color. And then you can also put in any color code. And so what I did here was I said, Google, what's the color code for lavender? And it told me this code. I copy pasted it in and I get lavender, even though that's not one of the colors you see here. So the other thing you can do is move the tiles around. So if you don't like how they're organized, you can switch that around, which is a new feature. So it's really great. It used to be you had no choice about what arrangement they were in. Okay, so that's the Math 12 class I'm doing, and then this is Math 24. So it's going to have this picture on it, but you can make it whatever color you like. Okay, so then you click anywhere on the tile and it will bring you into the course. And when you come into the course, it's going to bring you to this page, which is called the home page or the landing page. So I'm going to do another separate video going through all these navigation tools for the course. This is for the course Math 24. But this video's purpose is to show you around Canvas in general. So I want to start at the top of the Canvas navigation. So this vertical dark red strip on the left, that is for all of Canvas navigating. And then this vertical column of blue words, those are links for things in this particular class. So we looked at the dashboard. We looked at your courses. So the next thing let's look at is the calendar. So each of your courses has a calendar associated with it, and your instructor may or may not have populated the calendar. I use the calendar for everything. All of your assignments will be on the calendar, and I'm teaching 2 classes. So let me turn off college algebra so you'll see here are your classes assignments. So I don't have anything due this first week until Friday, and then even on Friday, what's due is your discussion board. And actually, I think I must just not have put this on here yet because there should be also a quick quiz due, but it's not a math assignment. So there are no math assignments due this first week. And then on Sunday, you'll see there's a lot of things due. These are all the getting started tasks. So please don't leave them till Sunday. It's a lot of busy things that each will take some time. They're not math and they're not difficult. They're just going to take some time. So make sure you leave yourself enough time to get organized and get set up and get ready to be successful in the course. So then I'm going to navigate back to the class by using the little book-shaped icon that's my courses and click on the course. Once you go to the calendar, you're not in a particular course anymore. You're over here in the calendar. So the next thing is the inbox. And the inbox has really nice features for the instructors, so we tend to use it a lot. We have to use your Sierra College student email for official communications. So at the beginning of the semester, I use the email and the Canvas message system and the Remind app to send messages, but eventually I use the email less and less because students seem the least likely to look at things in email. So I send more and more things through Canvas because it's also a lot easier for me to email the whole class in Canvas. It's hard to do in the email system. So then there's history, there's other things that you won't need to deal with, but then here's the help button. So if you click on the help button, there's lots of help available. There's a Canvas support hotline. The Canvas guides are actually really good. They have a search feature and you can just type in what you're trying to accomplish. Think of some keywords like submit assignment and it will lead you through the process. Then you can ask your instructor a question and that will get messaged to me, so that might take a while. But the other thing you can do is chat with Canvas support. So this is if you have a Canvas question, not if you have a Math 24 question or a math question, only if you have a Canvas question or something doesn't seem to be working properly. So that's a real time with a live person chat. Then if you're during hours when they're not available, you can fill out a help ticket. And then here's also where you can put a ticket in if you're having difficulties with your My Sierra account or your email and you need some help with somebody figuring out how to get that resolved. So then we also have Sierra College student tech support. They're really helpful in all kinds of tech things. Think of them as more the just how do I? And they're really helpful with that. And then these are also the people who can set you up with a hotspot or a laptop for free if that's what you need to be able to do the class. We're not using Proctorio. You probably won't have a feature idea you want to submit, but you could. So then you won't need this Sierra Connect button, but then let me show you this student support button. This is a relatively new button, and it has all of the student support services in one place. So this interest area student support isn't live and working yet. I will send you the contact information for your business interest area support person. But this part down here with all the gray icons, this is awesome. This is all in one place. Your support specialist, tutoring, writing a paper, the library, technology, financial aid, health and wellness, registering for classes, anything you might need help with. And if you're not sure where to start, you can chat. And this is through student services. They're in charge of counseling, financial aid, the library, all those services to help you be successful. So then the last thing I want to show you about is, notice in my circle up here at the top, it says account, and there's a picture in there. So if I click on account, the way I can change that picture is in settings. So as one of your getting started activities, I'm going to ask you to come into your settings here. And if you hover over the circle, you'll see that a pencil appears. So when that pencil appears, you click on that and you can put a photo, you can put an art piece, you can put a design, you can put, this is a Bitmoji that I made because I didn't have any pictures of how I looked during COVID. I didn't want any pictures of how I looked during COVID. So then this is my dog Kaylee in the picture with me. So this is just a place where you can put something that represents you. It doesn't have to be a photo, doesn't even have to be a picture of you. It can be somebody you admire or your dog or whatever you would like. But please put some kind of representation of yourself there and don't leave the gray shadow silhouette guy there. It's way nicer for me because I go look at the people's button in Canvas and I can see everybody's circles. And it's just so much nicer when they're not all gray silhouettes. So the other important button here is the notifications. So make sure you go into notifications and see all the things that you can choose. How often do you want to be notified about these things? So at first you might not be sure and you might just want to get notified immediately about everything. Well, then you'll find that if I'm working on the class, you'll get pinged way too much. So you can do notify me when it happens. You can notify me at the end of the day, and it says daily notifications get delivered around 6 p.m. Or you can say just weekly, send them in a batch for the whole week, and they'll come Saturday between 6 and 8 a.m. So for each of your courses, you could set this differently, or you can set them all the same by doing this on the global level. So experiment with how many notifications you're getting. Try getting lots of them and then backing off if they're just becoming annoying. So that's the intro to Canvas and navigating in Canvas. And please let me know if you have any questions at all.